Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We'll get going here in a minute. Drive safe. Go ahead and check your microphone.
I just want to
Yesterday was your cup. Today's your microphone. All you got to do is do it all before we get going.
You know what? I do it and then I double check it. And you know what? Even while I'm driving,
if you would just do it right the first time.
Sometimes I pull over and check it. I check the load, make sure nothing's shifted, even 2 hours as required by law.
I don't know. We've only been in here for 15 minutes. I feel like you could have checked it. It's probably still on.
I don't know. I bump it sometimes. I'm kind of.
I got it. Well, top of the morning to you.
Good morning.
Producer, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
We got computer problems, it sounds like. We got beeping going on over there. Did you ever get that camera fixed or no?
No, I'm going to have to completely switch that one, and I just keep forgetting about it, so I'll get that done.
He goes, yesterday was a screwdriver problem.
Right?
Yesterday was a screwdriver issue. I go, dude, I got a toolbox over there. Right at 17 steps from here, there's a toolbox with screwdrivers.
No, but
I'm here 8 hours. We got 2 hours worth of shows, and I just don't have time.
I'm not going to lie, though. I'm going to have an aneurysm if this beeping doesn't go away.
That's great. That's great stuff.
Hey, so Dave, no interview today. We're going to have a pre-recorded interview. Is it? I mean, why pre-record, not just record it?
That's how I've asked that question my entire life.
Asking, so is it just not being used the right way?
I agree. I think pre is not necessary in that sentence. Because if it's recorded, it obviously was done before now.
I think you're on something.
100%. 100% agree with that. That is the worst use of the word pre. We use pre way too much. Pre-owned. Why can't you just say used? I mean, it just sounds better. Pre-owned. Okay, do we have to say pre-owned? Can't we just say used?
Prehistoric.
Prehistoric. Well,
it's historic.
Well, that might actually be a proverb,
History is what? Anything in the past.
Anything in the
past. So why is it prehistoric?
Well, because
now he's got the justification because he's a dinosaur guy.
Because actually, history is recorded human history.
I watched Star Wars, and that was prehistoric, Rick.
No, prehistoric is anything known in human history is the way we usually do it, but prehistoric would be prior to human history.
All right. Hey, drive safe. So anyway, we got a few minutes before we do the recorded interview. And Dave, so what I have here are some notes in here, and we have it from a couple different people. I don't know where this kind of segment came from, but we'll go with it.
Come on.
And it's called Dear Dover.
Dear Dover.
Dear Dover. So here we go.
I've had a few of those letters in my time.
Dear Dover, I'm an avid walker, and as I leave my neighborhood, I find myself perplexed. Am I legally obligated to stop at the stop signs while I walk? And what about the do not enter or wear seatbelts? Signed, Dead Man Walking.
The correct answer to that is no. You are not required to stop at stop signs while walking. Can you address it as,
just Dear Dead Man Walking.
Dear Dead Man Walking. We appreciate your recognition and of the signs on the thoroughfare for road traffic. However, the sidewalk was designed and or created for pedestrian traffic. Now, you are not required to stop at stop signs.
Huh. Wow, that's kind of confusing to me. I mean, the sign's there. To me, you should stop. So if you're walking across the road,
correct,
and it's red, you don't or a stop sign right there. Maybe it's a four-way stop. You can just keep on walking. You don't have to stop.
Long as
no reason to look left or right.
I never said
you have the right of way. Just go ahead and go.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you should not look left or right. I'm not saying that you should not watch out for traffic.
We just did.
No, I didn't. I said you're not required. You cannot get a ticket for crossing at the intersection like you are supposed to. Jaywalking, however, is an illegal offense.
All right. Dear Dover.
I'm ready.
I hear so much about safety this and safety that.
Oh, to my
Back
heart.
in 73, we were safer than they are today. Why build a better and bigger mousetrap? Signed, If I Could Turn Back Time.
Well, I truly would disagree. Dear mousetrap.
No. I mean, these are your listeners that are calling. These are fans of yours
What was that?
that are writing in. Signed, If I Could Turn Back Time.
Okay, if I could turn back time, I would like to address you directly. We have made vast improvements since 73. In fact, the seatbelt law went into effect in 73, and it was only the lap belt. The seatbelt required under the statute. Now, the seatbelt has evolved into a much better cross strap and seat. Also, cars are much lighter and more safer now in collisions. Roadways are designed with more safety in mind, and we have technology based. I thank you for appreciating the old days, but really, as you look back, the good old days aren't that good when it comes to safety.
Some pretty deep things. Drive safe, Dave. You had mentioned and threw out some dates and years on the seatbelt. Tell me that one more time.
I believe it was 72 or 73.
What was it? What was
the requirement for a lap belt?
For vehicles to make them, or what?
Required, manufactured into cars. I think that's right.
Gotcha. Dole issued a ruling in 1985 that required automakers to install driver's side airbags to all new cars. 2/3 of the state passed mandatory seatbelt laws by April 1st, 1989. But, I'll go back and see if I can find the exact dates. I see a lot. I don't see that date. I'm seeing
let me
a lot of dates. In 1984, New York became the first state to require the use of seatbelts by law. I would say it'd have to. Yeah, I don't know. Drive safe. I mean, I'm not seeing anything with it. But you're probably right. I mean, you're typically right when it comes to dates and random quotes out there. So, speaking of seatbelts, you bring up seatbelts. Boy, what about the North Carolina airplane? What's going on there?
I read that story.
Isn't that bizarre? I mean,
there's probably more to this story than meets the eye than just the. So this guy, they did have a little difficulty with the plane. There was some damage to the plane. They were going to do a emergency landing because there was some difficulty to the plane, and then there was.
You think he stepped out to go fix something? I mean, he was 23 years old. I bet you Junior back there, Boyd, I bet we could talk him into a couple
grab one of those screwdrivers.
Yeah.
Went out there.
Can you step out there? I mean, Boyd, y'all have done some crazy things. I mean, do you push that? I mean, you've done some things that you shouldn't have done, obviously, right? Your age, you're full of vigor and you can't, you're invincible at your age.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I've definitely done some things that I probably should not have.
All right, we got a couple minutes here. I don't even care about the plane anymore. What is the worst thing you've done that your mom and dad don't know?
They don't know?
That you not. I'm not saying drugs. I'm not saying like that.
I plead the
I'm
fifth.
saying like
I plead
no.
the fifth.
We've all done this. This is all
the
part of being part of BCB life. What is the one thing you've done like that you weren't supposed to do? I mean, if you killed somebody, don't say that.
Yes, don't admit to a felony at this point because you're not old enough for the statute to have run out.
In the past few months, the worst one. So, towards the end of the school year.
Look at the camera. I mean,
just look up, sir. It's okay. Come
towards
clean.
the end of the school year,
Jesus,
I
is that you?
had a tumble at one point in my dorm building. Ended up severing the entire top of my ear off and knocked myself out. I have a scar from about here to there. Had to get a bunch of stitches.
Wow.
And
did that happen like at 2, 3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, yeah.
What time did that happen? I'm just curious.
It was about 4 o'clock in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning. So there's a lot.
You got up early.
Yeah. You're getting up to go study or what?
I got up to go to work. I was, I had to go get some stuff done.
So what did mom and dad say about that?
Well, that's the thing. So the first day I moved into college, I split my forehead open in the shower. So
was that legit though?
No, that was legitimate. Like,
okay. What about this one here though?
I
mean, they had to have known.
Yeah,
did they know about it?
Yeah, because Amanda is the one who took me to the urgent care. So
Amanda,
Snitched you out.
Did she snitch?
Well, they had to call my mom because
we just found him on the side of the road.
I was basically I didn't come to for about a day and a half, 2 days. So I was
you were
there.
In a coma?
Do what?
Were you in a coma?
Are you just unconscious?
No, I just literally would say the same 5 sentences over and over, and I don't remember anything. So,
My name is Luca.
I am Groot.
It was more of
I live on the second floor.
I am Groot.
I am Groot. I am Groot on repeat.
So what? So you called mom? Did mom and dad fly down there or drive down to see you?
Nah, my grandparents lived there. My grandpa went and picked me up, and I stayed.
You
at
can
their
only
house
say
for a couple
5
days.
words. I'm gonna have to talk to Marty about that.
Yeah, it was.
What were
Let's
the
say-
5 words?
I am okay.
Well, no, I had like 3 sentences. So I would say, "What happened? My head hurts so bad." And then the other one was, "Did we take an ambulance? My mom will kill me. That's so much money." And then I think the other one was, what? I had this stupid wrap on my head. I looked like a Batman character, and so I kept asking what was on my head, but that was about it.
Well, I mean, it's kid stuff, right? You learn, you live and learn.
Oh, yeah.
Drive Safe Dave's has got some stories that can top that, but not a bad one. That's a good start. All right, hey, we're going to go into a commercial. Before we do that, Dave, our next interview is brought to us by
Utility ProWear. UtilityProWear.com. You can log on there and get some of the Ansi certified bright and collective gear. They have some stuff in there you want in your wardrobe. They have some stuff in there that you want to be safe, and they have some stuff in there that fits you.
Before we go to that commercial, you know what? I feel like we've got to find a way to give the food bank. It's summertime, and you know, Dave, for $100 to the food bank.
Okay.
And right now we're even, right?
Yeah, we're even.
And this could mean that producers are going to have to go steal $100 worth of product out of their place, out of the warehouse down the road. What does Ansi stand for?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you say the word, and I feel like if you say it, you should know it, and you have 5 seconds. 5,
National
4,
Safety
3,
Institute. American
2,
National Safety Institute. I don't know.
American Ansi. Anybody look that up? Ansi.
American Safety Institute, right? National Safety Institute.
American National Standards Institute.
National
Yep.
Standards Institute.
We're down 100 right now.
Oh, my
Producers,
God!
We're going to play a thing. You're going to have to run down, and you're going to have to break in and steal $100 worth of product. You know, we're taking
you didn't
away.
even know the answer
Either
to the question.
I don't use the word. I don't use it. If I don't understand it, I don't use it. Our deal with the food bank is that we really want to give food. We encourage you to participate with your food bank close by. Here at BCB Live,
close.
we want to give, but our deal is this, is that if we can't give and we go into the hole, well, we're going to take.
What?
It only feels like the right thing. If we're going to give when we win, hey, we're going to take.
There's
when
also
we lose.
something called a credit line. Have you ever seen a credit line?
They are overextended. They are overextended. Food bank, you're overextended. We will see you. We won't see you, but expect a visitor tonight or before you open. Next is the interview. Take it away.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, ANSI certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear gives you the added benefit of providing a barrier to liquids, dirt, and grime, keeping you cleaner longer, brighter longer, and therefore safer longer. Get your high visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount. Hey everybody, and welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, along with another exciting guest. I've got Don Knight, past president of the Vintage Motor Car Club of America. Is that right?
That's correct, Dave.
All right, so tell us where you're from.
I live in Grand Prairie, born in North Carolina. Dad brought us out here to work at the aircraft plant, so I grew up in Grand Prairie.
All right, so you basically live out in Grand Prairie. So tell me a little bit about what the Vintage Motor Car Club is. I mean, obviously it sounds like classics, right? And
It is.
But what is it y'all doing? What is it y'all do?
We're the touring club. We don't do any judging, but we have 5 to 6 events a year in different parts of the country, and these are usually week-long events. And so the organizers will have to start planning these things maybe 2 years in advance to get the hotels and the catering and everything. But we will drive to the events, and well, we were at the Grand Canyon here a couple of months ago, and it was a week-long event. So the organizers, you'll have an opening banquet, and then you'll get a book of instructions. So each day you'll have driving tours, and they'll direct you to areas they want you to see. And you got to navigate to and from those things. And so they'll drive you 150, 200 miles, and you'll end up back at the hotel at night. And the next morning, you work on your car at night. And the next morning, you get ready to go again. So it's 5 days of driving, and most of these are week-long events, and there are some 3-day events. But we're the touring club, and we lean towards original cars. We do accept modifications for comfort, reliability, and safety.
Right.
But the car needs to look original. So, but you know, we added air conditioning, and we added 12 volts where we can have
Power steering, maybe.
power steering,
Power brakes.
all that stuff you can't see. We're fine with that. And but we meet friends, and several of the events are for different age cars. Like we'll have pre-war tours.
Nice.
We'll have chrome level tours, which would be post-war on up through the 70s. And even go back to some 1 and 2 cylinder tours. So we have a variety of tours for people, and we're called the Vintage Motor Car Club. And some people may remember we were originally called a Veteran Motor Car Club. So with the same VMCCA, but we were called Veteran. And the club was established in 1938. And back then, the word veteran, old cars were referred to as veteran cars. And so the club was formed as a Veteran Motor Car Club. And so over the years, we have struggled with that. People thought we were military veterans.
Right, I got you. I can
And so
understand
we
that.
were constantly, so finally, 4 years ago, it was a big event to change that name. So we had a vote of the whole membership, and we have about 5,000 members nationwide.
What are some of the locations that you go to? Is Biloxi, Mississippi one of those, or?
We've never been there.
Okay, I was just because I saw a bunch down there at one time, and I didn't,
Well,
didn't
that's
know.
called, there's a big tour once a year down there, Cruising the Coast.
I think that's what it is.
Cruising the Coast, and they'll have cars, 5,000 cars. Once a year they have that event. And we've been a couple of times, but it's all types of cars.
Right, I got you.
Street
Yeah, I
rods
just
and-
remember that going through there one time, and I think as you're driving through and driving out, they're all over the place. You know, something's going on, right?
bet.
When you got all these vintage cars and all these different class
Oh, it's-
models, you know something's happening right there. So where are some of the? So you've been to the Grand Canyon was one of them. Where are some of the other places that y'all go?
Well, we do all over. We've been to Mount Rushmore 2 or 3 times. That's a favorite place for old
It's
car
beautiful up there.
tours. And Colorado is, of course, a favorite place. We do all of the, Pikes Peak and all of those areas. And we also have heritage tours where they will maybe go and see past presidents' libraries. So we've been up in Ohio. There's a lot of past presidents there. We've done the Blue Ridge Parkway down through the south. Virginia is a great place. But we hold 4 or 5 tours a year, and several of us have to have different age cars to qualify for the. So you just can't have one old car. You got to have several.
Oh yeah, well there's nothing. Yeah, is that what you tell your wife?
Yeah.
I gotta have several of these things.
Listen.
I can't just have one classic. I've got to have 4 or 5 of them if I want to be in this club.
I got to brag on my bride. She's an enthusiast too, and she'll drive all day in those hot cars sometimes and never complain. So she's a trooper.
So let me ask you a quick question. So these times when you go to these touring spots or what have you, and I know that they send y'all driving. Couple questions. Number one, people line the streets when you're in the areas that you're headed just to take photographs of these.
Not too much. We will stagger our leaving times from the hotel. We don't travel in caravan. So you'll generally group up in 2 or 3 cars and stagger your leaving times, because if we get in a caravan, we have learned that it angers a lot of people if they've got to wait for us to get around. But no, and it will generally get off the main drags pretty quick.
I understand.
So we can tour the back roads and
The state highways and the U.S. highways and stuff like that,
We
as
do.
opposed to the interstates, right?
Yeah,
Stay
we
off
very,
the interstate.
Very
Rarely
seldom,
stay off.
very seldom, but we see the country at ground level rather than 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
So
Do you have opportunities for the public to look at your cars, like when you're parked? Do y'all ever,
do.
as true emissaries, to talk about your cars and let people walk by? Because it's nice to see interest from the younger generation to look at these old
We
cars.
realize that. So we always advertise when we're going to be in, and basically we'll be in 1 or 2 base hotels. So in the evenings and the mornings, the cars are all there and it's welcome for the public. And generally a lot of our stops, if we're at museums and things, we'll be glad to talk to anybody about the old cars. And that's an issue, you know, the hobby is fading a bit with age. And so we're always trying to attract new members. And the younger generation sometimes doesn't really care for our old cars, so we understand the hobby's changing.
Well, I'll tell you some of the interesting stuff. I know that we've got some images and some pictures of some cars that we're going to be showing during our interview as we talk. But I'm excited to know. You were a former police officer, right?
In Dallas for 33 years.
33 years, former police officer, and we talk about cars, I'll tell you. One of the things that we talk about with safety, that's really the main functionality of this program, is we demonstrate it. How has you have seen your fair share, I'm sure, of automobile wrecks?
Oh, yes.
My question to you is, with somebody that looks at the older cars and sees some of the safety features, how has technology helped with safety, do you think, over the years?
Oh, goodness, yes. And people, there's hardly a week goes by that someone doesn't look at one of my cars and say, boy, they don't build them like they used to. And I have a standard response to that every time. I said, you're right, they build them better. I said, the cars now with anti-lock brakes, with seat belts, with airbags, they're a lot safer cars. So we still love the old cars, but we realize that the modern technology is wonderful.
Do you in any of the cars that you have, and I know we talked about it briefly, we talked about the air conditioning, because out here in Texas it's almost mandatory that you have one in there, but
it is.
But my question to you is, that power steering or those power brakes, do you implement those into some of?
And like I mentioned earlier, I think that this BMCCA club, that was a huge issue for us as to where to allow modified cars into the club.
Right.
And so we allow 3 areas for comfort. That includes air conditioning.
I get that.
Reliability, that could be a little bit better engine, and safety, of course, with the lights and brakes. Most all of us have converted over to disc brakes, which are much better.
100% better.
So we have pretty good driving cars.
And as we talk about the cars, how do you just get members just as they buy their cars, they find their way into the club, or?
Well,
I'm just curious how you get to be. I know you have to have an old car.
Yeah, but those of us longtime members are constantly amazed that people say, we've never heard of you guys, and we just feel like we're everywhere. But we've got a website and we pass out literature and things. But it's a great club. We have like I'm a member of the North Texas chapter, which is a member of the Texoma region, which is Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana. That's our region. And then we fall under the national umbrella. But there's a website, vmcca.org, that kind of tells all about it. $40 a year for you and your family. And,
that's not much.
And you get a great bi-monthly magazine. And the camaraderie is the big deal. Early on, the cars were the big deal. Now the people are just as much.
So tell me real quickly, and I'm very interested, what cars do you have that you take onto the show?
I've had a variety over the years. I've sold some of them. So I was a Model A early on, and most old Ford guys are Model A's. They're cheap, easy to work on.
Yeah.
And so and the Model A is still a strong hobby, not as strong as it used to be. We're all aging. But we took one Model A, we shipped it to Australia and drove it across the whole continent, 3,000 miles on the wrong side of the road. But it was 20 of us that we did that, 20 Model A's, and that was a great trip. And we've done the same thing in Alaska. But I like the T-Birds. I've toured in a 55 T-Bird, but that little 55 T-Bird spun for about 2 blocks. It's just too tight and such. But I like the big birds. My 63 Thunderbird is my favorite car.
Thunderbirds.
And then I like wagons. Got a 59 country sedan Ford wagon, and I like the wagons a lot, and they're really becoming popular. We used to use wagons for parts cars to restore the convertibles and the coupes. Now wagons are a hot ticket.
Are they really?
And I've got a Ranchero. I like 59s. It was still a full-size body then,
Yeah.
Ranchero. And, you know, a lot of people see it and they say, oh, you got a El Camino.
No,
said,
you don't have an El
no.
Camino. You have the Ranchero.
No.
Stop right there.
It's a Ranchero. But it's the same style of car, but they built it full size 3 years, 57, 8, and 9. And then what were they thinking? They put the Ranchero on the Falcon body. So we're not too big a fans of that. I've got the full size.
Do you? And so, as of right now, how many cars do you currently own right now that could be considered into this class right here?
6 cars, and so I've sold 3 cars in the last couple of years. I just had to downsize, but every time I downsize,
Nine wasn't enough. Nine is any and never enough.
I was running out of room, but every time I downsize, I find something else I like. So I've got to create some more room. But I had a really nice, probably my prettiest car ever was the 59 Skyliner. That's a retractable hardtop.
Yep.
It was all black. It was a black beauty. That thing was beautiful. It had the Continental kit on it. But it wasn't a good touring car. We drive cross country.
Right.
And so that car is pretty tail heavy. So at 60 miles an hour, you're
Washing.
trying to keep it between the lines. But that became a wedding car and parade car. But I finally sold it. A fellow in Las Vegas wanted it.
Oh, you had to have it, huh?
Had to have it. So it lives in Las Vegas now.
As far as you know.
Yeah.
What is y'all's basic mission? Y'all must have a mission statement. What is the mission statement?
Restoration, preservation, and touring. That's it. So we don't do any judging. We used to do judging. For the past 20 years, we just said we're not even going to do any judging. We just want to tour. So, and we don't do typical car shows of Sonic parking lot type things. You know?
Right, I got you.
And I'll do some of those on occasion if it's a good cause, you know.
What about parades?
We'll do parades on occasion, but not too many. They're you know, most of the old cars will overheat pretty fast in a parade. So so we don't do too much parades, but when we tour, that's our mission, is we get on the road and drive the cars, and like I say, we see the country at ground level. I've been in all of the lower 48 states except New England. We haven't been up in New England, but we've driven in all the other states.
You haven't driven in New England. Oh, you haven't been up into up that 95 corridor. You're not missing much.
No,
I didn't say that.
We haven't been up in that area. We've been as far as Virginia, and you know, and that's a great area to tour. My goodness, there's so much to see in Virginia. That's probably one of my favorite areas.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. It has a lot of history, and of course, you know, you also have not only we have a lot of history from Virginia. First 5 presidents, by the way, are from Virginia. Don't know if everybody knows that.
It's lots of history there. And I have a car. This is a 42 Nash. I know I'm a Ford guy, but this 42 Nash, I specifically bought it to qualify for pre-war tours.
Right.
And it also qualifies for orphan car tours. A lot of people don't know what that is.
I don't even know what that is.
Those are cars that are no longer manufactured. Studebakers, Hudsons.
Edsels.
Edsel, well, Edsel's a Ford product. It might not. But
might not be.
You know, now Pontiac and Oldsmobile qualify.
Do they really?
They're no longer made. But those are specific tours called orphan car tours. And that Nash is one of my favorite cars. That's a great car. You know, a lot of those great car companies back then that went under, the big 3, they couldn't compete with the big 3. But Nash, Studebaker, Packards, Hudsons, those are great cars.
Good looking cars too.
They are.
They are beautiful looking cars.
You know, back then they were probably $200 more than a Ford or Chevy. That was a lot of money then.
Yes, it was.
But still, you got a lot more car for $200.
Yeah. And you know, I find it so. Your what is it you want to look forward to coming up in this year and next year in the vintage car? What do you got? What are you looking forward to this year?
Our tours have slowed down a bit. COVID just, you know, affected everything. But we're back. We're going to Cincinnati in the fall. That's going to be a big tour, a week-long event. And then coming up next year, Fredericksburg is going to host a national event, so I'm going to help with that. And that's going to be a big tour. And then we're going to Virginia next year. It's going to be, I think we go to Virginia every couple of years. There's just so much to see. So some good tours coming up. My wife and I, we just block our calendars. And but
So, you know, what's really fascinating is, you know, most of the people fly to these locations, right? And they get there, they fly out there, and they,
Yeah.
When you go to a long distance place, and do you typically, I know you've got to do the tour in Cincy, do you take your time getting there to do the kinds of things you want to do on the way out there? Or do you head straight?
We don't. Some people do. But we usually get there in 2 days. We'll have one overnight to get to the location.
Right.
And then
So you're pushing it.
we are, and you know, but most of my cars can travel 60, 70 miles an hour easy.
Right.
But once we get there, there's so many activities that they'll take you to see.
Right.
That there's not.
It's
really,
all the event's there anyway.
Oh my goodness! It's well organized, planned meals. It's just a wonderful week.
Wow. And,
So we were in Nebraska back in the spring, and a lot of people, and I thought the same thing. What in the world is there to see in Nebraska? But there's more to see than you think.
there is.
So
There's a lot of
we were in Nebraska, and in the
Corn.
spring, a lot of corn, but we had snow. We got snowed in.
there is, yeah, especially in the spring.
Nebraska.
I
That was a
think
good trip.
I was just up in, believe it or not, I was up in Iowa. We had the
Mm-hmm.
Iowa 80 truck stop jamboree. We had a lot of pretty show trucks there going on, and it was really
Mm-hmm.
nice to go back and look at all those trucks. But no, that is fascinating stuff. I can't, you know what? If anybody's interested and wants to talk about it or wants to get to know more about the Vintage Car Club, right? The
Vintage Motor Car Club.
The Vintage Motor Car Club. They can go on to the website.
vmcca.org, and it'll tell you all about it. They've got some specials on membership going now, and
You can save money.
yeah, you can, like right now, membership's half price for the rest of the year. And we always feel like if we can get people to come on one tour, they're hooked. They're going to keep
Absolutely.
on coming.
We got you.
And man, we've made so many wonderful friends, as lifelong friends in this hobby. So I'd encourage people to look into getting into this hobby. I know it's expensive, but it's not any more expensive than a motorhome or a boat.
It isn't.
And you'll get some of your money back at the end, where you won't on a boat or a motorhome.
No, you won't get any money back.
But it's been a great hobby for us, and I work on my cars. I do my own work, and you kind of need to do some of that. It's just too expensive to have any work done by a professional. So that's part of the hobby, is working on your own cars.
Yeah, and that's and you know what? That's some of the, I believe, the joy in it as well.
Oh my
right?
goodness, yes! I take a lot of pride. If a car performs well, successful trip. So, if I break down, not so good.
All right, everybody. We do appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and about what's going on, Dawn. We may, when you get a chance, do us a favor. When you go to your next car club, go to your next deal. Maybe we can get maybe we can get some pictures from there where you're at and send them in, and we can maybe even interview directly from the facility around a bunch of cars.
That'll be fine. We're going to do some of those things in the future. We do some senior citizens events where we'll park in their lot and let them come out and see the cars. And
oh my gosh,
and
I bet
like that.
That is nice.
That's
isn't
a good way to use the old cars.
That is a good way to use the old cars.
Boy, they come out there with smiles on their face, and we had one.
Because that's their cars.
I had a Model A coupe with a rumble seat a couple of years ago, and we were at a senior citizens home, and they come walking, an elderly lady out, and she didn't have her teeth in, and her name was Millie. And so I said, Millie, would you like to sit in the front seat? And she said, uh-huh. So we get her up in the front seat, and she's just looking around. You can tell a flood of memories. And I said, Millie, would you like to get in the rumble seat? And quick as a whip, she says, oh, no, honey. No, honey. I got in a lot of trouble in a rumble seat. So
it's good stuff right there.
It's a good hobby. So.
Yeah, she ain't lost her senses.
No, I like that.
Yeah, me too. All right, I'll tell you what. Before we get out of here, I'd like for you to state your name, who you're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
You bet. I'm Don Knight, Knight, and I'm with the VMCCA. That's the Vintage Motor Car Club of America, and you are watching Safest Station in the Nation.
You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected.
News down in Texas. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We had another $1.5 million seizure. If ever there's a time to do a pre or post trip, it's if you're doing something wrong.
Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob. You can kind of see where the visibility can be compromised a little bit. Again, right where that rain is.
And most importantly, safety.
One of the things that we must do is make sure that safety is the number one thing that we focus on.
Going into an intersection yellow is not the way. That's to clear an intersection, not to enter an intersection.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Hey, good Wednesday morning. Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You got Double Check Dale here. We're going to go over a little bit of weather, then we're going to talk some safety. Not a lot going on in weather right now. Let's take a look at what's going on with the winds. Got a little bit of pockets of stronger winds up there in northern Kansas, southern Nebraska, going into Iowa. The winds are strong, but there's no real big gust or strong gust going on with that. As we go out throughout the day, this afternoon, we'll start to see the winds pick up and kick up a little bit more up in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. A storm coming up out of Canada. Minnesota's going to see some stronger winds, but again, none of those gusts are expected to be above 35. So just want you to know if you're in those areas, you're going to see some winds this afternoon. When we look at the rain and thunder, the thunderstorms, currently there's a pretty strong cell of a thunderstorm there in the Omaha, Nebraska area, just a little bit to the east of that. So if you're in that area around Omaha, be aware there's a very strong thunderstorm going on, potential for some tornadoes there, heavy rain, strong winds. That storm winds itself up through Iowa into Wisconsin and then over to Michigan. And as the morning progresses, it shifts a little bit to the south and to the east. And by this afternoon, you know, the storm is really stretching from central Missouri all the way up through the Chicago area up into Michigan. We're seeing some pop-up showers this afternoon in the Gulf Coast states, Louisiana, southern Mississippi, Alabama. Florida and Georgia are going to see some rain this afternoon. And then as we go into the evening hours, pretty strong storm develops there in central Missouri, probably north of the I-70 corridor from Kansas City up through probably Brookfield area. And then in the Chicago area, right south of Chicago area, you'll see a thunderstorm this evening. And then into the overnight, that storm up south of Chicago and right along the Illinois-Indiana border really looks like it's intensifying tonight, you know, around the 10, 11 o'clock hour. So if you're up in that area, be aware of that this evening. Temperature-wise, don't even have to show the map. It's going to be hot, folks, and so it's summertime. You know, make sure you have plenty of water, stay hydrated. If you overexert yourself, you know, make sure you take a rest. If you're not feeling well, take a break. Don't overexert yourself. Be aware of the heat out there. Same thing goes for your truck and your trailer. Hey, keep an eye on those tires. Make sure the inflation is right. And we're watching the temperature gauges on that because that heat will affect those trucks, trailers, and tires. With that, we'll take a short break and come back and talk safety.
This segment has been brought to you by Utility ProWear. Utility ProWear manufactures high-quality, Ansi certified, high-visibility apparel for both men and women. Infused with the Teflon fabric protector, Utility ProWear affords the wearer durable clothing with a great fit to afford the highest degree of safety. Get your high-visibility apparel by going to utilityproware.com. Use the code BCB20 at checkout for an exclusive discount.
Welcome back to BCB Live. We're the safest station in the nation. Drive safe day. We heard Dale talking about overexerting yourself. Any issue with that during the summertime?
Well, I think anytime you overexert yourself.
Personally, are you having any issues with that?
It just depends of work. Either outside, sometimes outside. Got to be careful, mindful. Got a lot going.
A lot of work being done outside with a white shirt on. I'm just going to say I have my work shirt on. Is that the case?
Actually walking around outside could be a lot of exertion going on in the heat. But a brighter colored shirt tends to reflect more of the sunlight. A darker color tends to absorb more and retain more heat. This is actually good to wear in the bright sunshine.
All right, and Dale, what are we talking about today?
You know, we're talking about backing up safety, you know, getting out and look. And, you know, a lot of times when we talk about getting out and look, we just talk about walking around the back of the trailer. Remember, your truck and trailer has 6 sides. It has a top, it has 2 sides, the front, the rear. And so it's really a good idea to get out of your vehicle, walk all the way around the vehicle, survey the area that you're going to be backing into. But don't always just look for the obstacles behind us, because so many times it's the fence or the curbs or the pylons or something that may be sitting out there that we actually hit it when we're backing up. It's not behind us. It's all the way around us. And so we just have to remember we have those 6 sides. Survey the situation all the way around your vehicle. Be aware of where that fence is, where those curbs are.
All right, good stuff there. And I'll just go on a limb. Is it safe to say that a proper pre-trip does include checking out the top of the trailers and tractors?
Yeah, a proper pre-trip check means checking out the whole vehicle, making sure it's safe.
Top of it?
Hey, the top corner of it, is it damaged? Is there a hole in it? Is the lights working?
We don't want you getting out there and just climbing, scaling that trailer, nothing like that, right, Dave? How do you check? You can check it from the inside.
When we talk about top of the trailer, overhead lines is what we're talking about, or when you're backing into the docks.
Not necessarily like on top of it.
Clearance. What are the
clearance?
What
We're
are
not
the
asking
obstacles
to.
above
Got
us?
it.
I'm not asking
So for the new drivers that are out there, we're not asking you to
Get the step ladder out
get-
and climb to the top. No, we're not asking that.
Get a rope and do a little, throw it over there and
Jump
just,
out of a plane.
Yes.
That would be
Fall out of a
overexerting
plane.
yourself.
Especially in today, with the heat. Don't do that for certain. Good stuff on that. Let's hop into a couple videos. How many videos we got today?
Probably 5 or 6.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, we
All good ones too.
5 videos, or actually 6, but here's scrub some speed, gain some distance.
We're in a situation where we're following a little too close here, and so all we got to do is be able to knock that speed down a little bit. We're about a second back, 7/10 of a second back. If we scrub that speed off, and by the end of this video, he starts to drop the speed a little bit, and the space starts to increase. And so it's about recognizing the situation we're in and taking that corrective action sooner than later.
Next video is called Take Action, Back Off.
Again, this one we're a little bit closer than last one. And it's about recognizing, and sometimes we just get in a zone. We talk to drivers, they say, I just get in a zone, don't realize where I'm at. You got to recognize that. You got to know when you're in that zone, and when the coaching starts talking to you, take that action, back on out of it, make that situation safer for everybody.
One of the quickest ways and best ways to identify that you are too close is now you're losing the big picture, especially behind a big truck. You'll lose a big, broad view of what's going on up ahead anytime you're this close to another tractor, or another trailer or something like that. So you got to make sure that when you back off, you get a better picture of what's going on out there.
Yeah, there's not a good preview at all.
Next video we got is called Let's Learn Something.
Here's one where driver got out and to make a pass. And this vehicle stopped dead in the road without any lights on or anything. So we got to learn. We got to remember this really goes to show if we're not paying attention. Davey's talked about the big picture, the preview. If we're not paying attention to seeing what's going on ahead of us, it just goes to show how fast things can happen. I mean, we're coming up pretty quickly here.
We're coming up because we're on the left-hand side. We're on the passing lane on a highway. We're not speeding. It doesn't look like, right?
Well, if we went back a little bit earlier, and here we are
going
speeding. The
61.
Speed limit is actually 55. We went past the sign, and it didn't change, and so I didn't have time to get that edited. But
here's the big mistake. These vehicles are doing a U-turn in the road. They're not turning left. They're U-turning.
Absolutely, they are.
And they're creating a dangerous situation. Why
is this truck, again, we have the video here, but what about the white truck that's just now starting to move over? He could have done that already. He could have been in there. Dale, if an accident happens here, is this white truck at fault? I mean, no lights on. I don't see any brake lights on. Yeah, is he in fault, or is he just, I was rear-ended, it's always the person that hit me fault? Because this isn't a ideal move.
No, I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the truck in front has its flashers on, right? Does that one have its flash? Is that flashing, or is that just a brake light?
That was just a brake light that came on right at the end. I think the brake light came on right at the end when he realized this truck's coming up behind him, and he's trying to get out of the way. He's watching his mirrors, but just a dangerous situation. He's just, like I said, being prepared, it's that drive defensively, being able to see that big picture and recognizing what's going on.
I get that. I get that. What about the vehicle? What about the white truck? Is he at fault or not?
If we rear-end him, he's not at fault. I mean, he's not going to get a ticket. We're going to get the ticket for rear-ending him. That would be my take on it.
Yep.
We're going to get the ticket.
I don't know. I think stupidity shouldn't be rewarded. And I'm not talking about the driver driving. It's one thing. However, the driver that's making that UE right now, that's not the way to do it.
No, it's
you don't
not.
sit out in the left-hand lane and wait to make a UE. We don't want you doing that either. So while we sit here and we critique the driver driving, we got to go out and look at everything, the big picture. It's not just the video that we're showing of the driver. We're looking at the camper to the left, how he reacted. We're looking to the truck in front of us, what he or she was doing, because we too can learn from that.
Yeah,
that's not the move to do.
Yeah, that's why, looking at this one, this is something we can learn from, because there's a whole lot of different things going on here. Did this truck do a pre-trip in the morning? Are his brake lights working and everything? And so did he turn his flashers on? That's the thing that should be on, is a flasher. Give some sort of warning or signal what's going on ahead of you. If you're stopped dead in the road, turn your flashers on. If you're making a left-hand, right-hand turn, turn your turn signal on so you have some warning to somebody.
All right, next video we got is called Limiting Your Outs.
When we follow too close, and it's been talked about a couple times, we limit the big picture. We can't see what's ahead of us. And
Yeah.
so
What if that truck stopped right there in front of this FedEx truck?
we got problems.
You got a problem,
we
right?
got problems.
Or hit something.
Yeah. The FedEx driver may react late, and we will not have that time that we had on that last video.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why we say you've got to increase your distance. You've got to be able to see. You can't see in front of this FedEx billboard right now. You don't have a clue on what's going on in front of them.
No. And, we've got some rope, a guardrail rope alongside of us, so we're just limited at our outs. We've got to have that space in front of us. That's really what our space, our out should always be, that space, and we just keep talking about it. Increase your space, slow it down just a little bit, get that space out there so you have some place to go.
Everybody's a little too close in this video, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, next video we got is called No Matter When or Where, Stop Means Stop.
And that just goes to show, it doesn't matter where that stop sign is, whether you're comfortable with that intersection, and we've seen this intersection before, it doesn't matter. That stop means stop. I mean, we're coming alongside that truck there, and so it's really limited our ability to look to the left. Now we have a pretty good view, but without stopping, we don't have a great view. We don't have that time to take the good look, to look for something more than just a car or a truck. Maybe it's a pedestrian, maybe it's a pet, maybe it's a jogger. So just have to be aware that stop means stop.
What kind of road is this that he's turning on? I mean, it doesn't look like your standard two-way road right here. Let's see what happens right here. What? Is that a driveway?
I didn't look at the location, but it still means stop. I mean, it's an intersection. The stop sign's there. Something's happened to warrant that stop sign being there, and so we need to be obeying. I mean, just get in that habit of, whether it's a driveway, intersection, major thoroughfare, that we got to get in that habit of stopping every time. So when we get to the lesser ones, what we consider a lesser intersection, we still have that good habit of stopping for it.
Last video of the day is going to be called Recognize and Correct.
Yep. Again, we're too close. You got to recognize that. Got to take those corrective actions. Got to slow down. And the sooner you do it, the better it is. The safer it is for everybody else. And so just recognize how close you are, because if you tried counting 1,001 here, you're not making it, folks. We're well less than a second. Correct the situation. Put everybody in a safer situation by increasing your space.
Yeah, a lot of cars in that left-hand lane. I mean,
They're all wanting to pass.
and a chain reaction happens at that. Somebody puts the brakes on, traffic's up ahead, there's construction, you never know. Those cars are they're gonna all put their brakes on it, and you are not gonna be able to stop like they are.
Nope.
Well, I'm just going with the flow of traffic. Well, going with the flow of traffic, you can still do it with the proper spacing in between you. So you got to remember that you're not making any of those vehicles in front of you go any faster. You're not going to get there any sooner. So let's do it the safest way. Let's increase our space.
Running too close to one another. A lot of cars are running too close to one
Man,
another. Both
just-
cars
yeah.
and trucks. Just way too close to be safe.
Yeah.
And everybody around's running too close, running in a pack. It's a dangerous situation, creates a very difficult environment out there on the road. Drivers see it every single day. They see those packs, those wolf packs running, understand the dangers that go along with them. Let them go. Don't get involved. Don't get caught up in it. Stay away from the wolf pack. Stay away from those guys out there trying to pass and running really tight with one another, because it just ends. It never ends well.
Yeah, you know, and we're in August, one of the part of the 100 deadliest states. You know, traffic is picking up. There's so much going on. Kids going back to school, practices starting. So there's a lot of additional traffic out there, and those people may not be paying attention to what's going on around them. So we have, as a professional drivers, we have to make sure we're doing our part and watching what's going on.
We do. All right. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day you've given us. Continue to watch over us. Watch over our drivers. Help these drivers identify when they're in an unsafe situation, and just give them that ability to back out of it, to see it, and to realize that where they are and what they're doing, and you know, whatever it takes for them to back out, we just ask that you help them get to that point. Continue to watch over us. Be with this crazy, crazy world. Be with the leaders of this world, to you know, that we just learn to put you first, and to you know, just, you know, love your neighbor. You know, it doesn't seem that hard how we make this world, Lord. Just ask you to be with all of us. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen. Everybody, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll have some announcements as well tomorrow as we get ready for, you know, to finish out the month of August and the new schedule coming out for September. We'll talk to you. Until then, be safe. Make it happen. Watch out for the rough road ahead. Rough road.
Rough roll.
Rough road. Who would that be? Who says that? Scooby-Doo.
Rough roll.
Right. Rough road. Did you know that's what he said?
Rough road?
Yes.
I didn't know he said rough. I thought he said rot row.
No. Rough road. Rough road ahead. Y'all stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.